Folks at home, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna go out, hit the pond. We are gonna flip a jig, we're gonna swim a jig. It is fall time, the vegetation is dying back. Perfect time to be swimming a jig around here. So let's get out there and get after it. We'll see you. Folks, here's the best example I can give you as to why the jig kills this time of year. One, look at all of these bait fish, minnows, bluegill, swimming around this heavy cover. In the fall, all of those bait fish pull to any kind of cover that is left. As stuff starts dying back, guess who's not far away? These bass are going to sit around and in cover and ambush all of this prey swimming around. Simply, these bass right here are waiting for something like a jig to come into that cover. And as soon as it comes into that cover, it's gonna get nailed. Jig fishing this time of the year can be really fruitful because bass are sitting in existing cover that's left waiting to ambush. There he was, right on the edge. Good fish. Get in the boat. There we go. Excellent jig fish right there. Nice, beautiful bass. All right, guys, let's talk color theory on jigs. Number one, I've found that using a different color trailer from the main body of the jig will get you bit 9 times out of 10 more often, right? So here is a classic green pumpkin milfoil jig. I love throwing this green pumpkin jig on a black and blue trailer. And what that does is it gives you an offset from trailer to body, right? If you throw it on a plain jig, you get that one singular color of jig. But all bait fish and all things in nature, and I'm using this swim bait because it's a great example, right, are two-toned. So this is a two-toned fish. Why would you want a single monotone jig? If I use this jig in that color, I'm gonna put orange on the tips. I'm gonna doctor up that jig, right, to make it look different. But I've found that using a trailer that is offset from the color of the jig that I'm throwing is gonna get me bit far more often because it's far more realistic. Now, I'm a big time believer in modifying baits and making baits different, so I do a lot of things differently than most. But I've read a ton of stuff about jig theory. The only time I'm gonna go straight color jig is if I'm in really dirty, dark water and I need that jig to be seen. I'm gonna throw that black and blue with black and blue. But look at a black and blue jig with a green pumpkin trailer. That looks pretty good. How oftentimes have you seen bluegill be that 2 and 3 color tone with the bars on their sides? About other kinds of fish do the same thing. Here's a black and red jig, right? With that black and blue trailer, looks pretty good, right? That blue makes it pop. You can throw that sparkle and fleck in there if you want to. Here is a white color jig, right? Look at that white color jig with a green pumpkin trailer. Looks really, 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 really fishy, right? They did a study a long time ago about two-tone color jigs. I can't remember where I saw it, but it was a fantastic way of producing bites. Here's my jig box, just my swim jig box. You can see all different kinds of colors in there. Another great color I love to throw this time of the year is that green pumpkin jig on a watermelon or a pumpkin with an orange flare skirt. This jig right here, when that water gets into the 50s, oh man, that jig absolutely will light them up. That's a color combination that works really, really well right there. So think about throwing different color jigs, right? Because all things in nature tend to be that two-tone kind of color shade and color scheme in there. Can make you more successful. Here's also the best example I can give you as to why you want to pull jigs out of cover slowly. One, all of these bass and sunfish are hanging out right here on the edge of this cover. They're underneath a pontoon boat, they're underneath a dock, and what they're doing there is they're waiting to ambush prey that comes out of the cover. Prey fish and baitfish and bluegill are really good at hunkering down in the cover and staying out of it. Bass are really good at being on the edges of cover and ambushing as soon as they get out. This is what your jig would see had you skipped it up under this dock right now or fished it up under this pontoon. There's probably 10 bass right here. There's some really big red ear hanging out that are picking off wayward bait, crawfish, tiny bluegill, tiny minnows as they come out. These fish are really, really likely to eat a jig. One, they're right by cover, and two, they're opportunistic. They feel like if a jig is going by on the bottom right here, that's an easy meal, something that they can pick up and eat. So always want to fish your jig around cover, around structure, soak it in those areas because this is what's there. Hey guys, hope you learned something today when we were fishing jigs. We're trying to get simple. A lot of people have asked to do simple videos, simple questions. Where do you throw a jig? How do you fish a jig? What do you want to put on a jig? And I'm trying to do what you guys want to see. We're also going to come out next week with probably some underwater videos again, get back to that. The weather's looking decent enough to try to get that done. So we're going to work on those. We're going to get some more content out to you. If you like our channel, go to Sportsman's Outfitters, support us there, buy stuff. It allows us to take this channel to new heights. We really appreciate hanging out with you guys. We'll see you next time.